Thinking Aloud. Conversations on the leading edge of knowledge and discovery with psychologist Jeffrey Mishlove.
Hello and welcome. I'm Jeffrey Mishlove. Today I'd like to talk about our situation at New Thinking Aloud regarding volunteers. We first issued a call for volunteers over 2 years ago, and I have right now an Excel spreadsheet that contains a list of well over 300 individuals who have volunteered. Now, many of those individuals I know have dropped away for various personal reasons. And to be quite honest, our volunteer program has been relatively inactive for some time now, largely because, first of all, during 2021, I spent most of the year working on the Bigelow essay competition. And second of all, since winning the competition, I've been really busy on some opportunities that have opened up for me. So our volunteer program has been slow, but I have to say, overall, it's worked out quite well. For example, one of the outcomes of the volunteer program is that we initiated a weekly newsletter. And just today, I've been working on the 118th consecutive issue of our weekly newsletter. Now, if you're not already a subscriber, you can go to the New Thinking Aloud Foundation, newthinkingaloud.org. And incidentally, New Thinking Aloud is all one word, and the aloud portion is ALLOWED. So if you go to that website, you can sign up for free for our weekly newsletter. It's very informative. It includes artwork and poetry, sometimes sent to us from viewers, plus a lot of information about current events that are relevant to our broadcasts and upcoming videos. As a matter of fact, subscribers to the newsletter get advanced preview opportunities to see the videos that will be shown in the coming week. Another real success story with regard to our volunteer program is our book committee. We have one book already practically ready for publication based on the New Thinking Aloud monologues, the InPresence monologues, and I can tell you it's quite a task to go from the spoken word to the appropriate written word, but that's what we've been doing. The book committee has been working diligently. We now have one book almost ready for publication, and I think it's fair to say or to announce that we have signed a contract with White Crow Books in the UK, a company that specializes in books about the paranormal, particularly books about survival after death, to do a series of books based on the New Thinking Aloud videos. So one of the tasks, of course, that we're looking for are people who can help us transcribe the videos into good readable English and then edit the spoken word so that it reads well in the context of the written word. Now, I can say this. We've had a lot of volunteers who have offered to translate the transcripts that we have into a wide range of foreign languages, and we've done translations into Russian and Chinese and maybe a dozen other languages, including Persian. However, I have to say that our translation program has bogged down, and the reason is this. In order to make sure that we are presenting accurate translations in foreign languages, we need a committee of people who can double-check each other's translations to make sure they're accurate. And then we needed to have somebody to supervise that committee, and it just turned out to be more work getting all the committees together to double double check each other's translations and then have somebody supervise it. And at the same time, we weren't getting the English translations done as rapidly as we would like, because we want to have good English translations to begin with before we do the foreign translations. So I hear from volunteers often who say, I speak this language and I'd love to help out. And what we really need at this point is an organized effort, somebody who's really willing to take responsibility for the various committees of people in individual languages to make sure that the translations are being accurately double-checked and approved by a whole committee of people. And sometimes we have people who can translate into obscure languages like Catalan. But if we don't have a committee of people to double check the accuracy, then we're liable to have biases that a single individual can introduce into a translation. So we've been hesitant to move forward any further on that, but if we get the right people, somebody who could take on a project manager role to oversee the foreign language translations, to coordinate that with accurate English translations, and to supervise all the different committees of different languages, then we could move forward again. But until then, our basic need is for people who can transcribe the interviews into good English translations. So we're looking for volunteers in that area. Another area where I think we could really use help with our volunteers has to do with, I'll call it the podcast, the audio-only version of the New Thinking Aloud videos. We currently have a system that takes the audios from the videotapes and releases them as podcasts. But that system I just don't have the time and the energy to keep it constantly updated. And I know there are glitches in the podcasts. For example, our Apple podcasts come up on the Apple podcast system, but they're in reverse order by time. So the oldest ones are at the top of the list. There are over 700 of them. But if you want to get to the most recent ones, you've got to scroll all the way down. Somehow we've got to get that list reversed. And so there are a lot of little problems like that with the podcasts. That's another task we could really use some help with. And of course, there is our website. We're talking mostly about the New Thinking Aloud Foundation website. And Lee Goddard has been working largely as a volunteer to keep that website up to date. I think it would be great if we had a couple volunteers with really strong technical skills who could work with Lee to make sure that the website is constantly functioning well, because there are little glitches that can crop up on a website. One of the strongest features of that website is our searchable database. We now have 6 or 7 other YouTube channels that have videos on topics similar to New Thinking Aloud. And our searchable database will actually let you type in any search term, and it will search all of those YouTube channels and take you to the very spot in each video where your search term is discussed. So I'm very proud of what we've accomplished. I'm happy with how the website looks, but I'm pretty sure we could use a couple of people with strong technical skills to work with Lee Goddard in keeping the database up to date. Another area that I think we can expand into has to do with our live stream broadcasts. We do live stream events every 3 weeks, typically on Sunday. And that's been going on now for a couple of years. I'm very happy with the results that we're getting. And the way it has worked is the live streams go out on YouTube. I'm actually communicating with our guest on a different system. It gets piped into YouTube. But we now have the capability that we're starting to explore to simultaneously send our live streams out not only over YouTube, but also over Facebook, over Instagram, as a way to expand our outreach. But in order to do that successfully, in my opinion, we need more volunteers, because every time we do a live stream, people tune in because they have an opportunity to post questions in the chat window, and those questions get culled by our volunteer. You can imagine, with hundreds of people logging in, the chat window flies by quickly, and the volunteers capture the best questions and send them to me on another document that I read. I select the best of those questions to pose to our live stream guest. But if we expand to more than just YouTube, if we have live streaming simultaneously over YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and maybe other sources as well, we're going to need volunteers to monitor the chat sections in each of those locations so that the people who are viewing, be it Facebook or Instagram or some other site, will be able to pose questions to our guest and have the guest answer the questions. So we're certainly looking for more volunteers to help out as live stream moderators. Of course, there's the question of the overall coordination of all the volunteers, keeping everything up to date, keeping track of all of the different projects and making sure that they're all moving forward steadily. We have a coordinating committee, and some people are very skilled at project management so that we can stay on top of those things. One of the things that we have done in the past for our volunteers is that we've had irregular, really, every couple months, a meeting on Zoom where the volunteers can interact with me directly and interact with each other as well. And we intend to offer perks like that for the volunteers. Certainly the live stream moderators get to spend some private time with our guests every time we do a live stream. So I've been functioning as a volunteer for New Thinking Aloud for the last 7 years. It's been great. It's my love. It's my passion. And I do it with a sense of joy, love, and gratitude, because this is such wonderful work. So I'm looking for people who would like to pitch in that same spirit. And if you are such a person and would like to become part of our volunteer team, I suggest that you send an email to friends@newthinkingaloud.com. Those emails come to me. We've got a process in place. You have to be patient because we've got a lot of things going. I personally have a lot of balls in the air right now. But I would be remiss if I didn't also mention that there are even opportunities for volunteers to do interviews, to be online. It's not for everybody. We have one volunteer, Emmy Vadnais, many of you know, has become a regular guest host on New Thinking Aloud. So I wouldn't rule out that possibility, but of course it requires somebody with very special talents to do something like that. It's not for everybody, but it's my hope that we will revamp our volunteer program and reactivate it. That I know I'm being called away to work on other projects. I have some other responsibilities now, for example, with the Bigelow Institute, and also with regard to my book, The PK Man, which could be made into a documentary, maybe even a feature film, not to mention the Bigelow essay, which itself could be the basis of a documentary. So my availability for New Thinking Aloud is becoming, I guess the best word is, a little bit cramped right now, in spite of my great passion for it. So that's why the volunteer program is of great importance to us. And if you're a viewer and you'd like to get more involved with New Thinking Aloud, I welcome you to reach out on that email, friends@newthinkingaloud.com. So thank you very much for being with me. And of course, thank you very much for being with us.